nation run by bankers will never be out of debt. A nation owned by weapons manufacturers will never know peace. A nation that allows a small segment of its citizens to write the laws will never know justice. And if these elements own the media, we will never know the truth. Every time we witness an injustice and we don't act, we train our character to be passive in its presence. And thereby we eventually lose all ability to defend ourselves and those we love.
Mic check. Do we got audio? Okay. Welcome to another edition of Trailer Park Pundit. Welcome to the Trailer Park, guys. This morning I got AM Wake Up with me, Steve and Pasta. They just did an amazing show. How you guys doing?
Good. How about you? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm so glad you guys could stop by. You are my first official ever guest on the Trailer Park Pundit, which I'm so glad that it gets to be you two.
You going like Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. now on the West Coast?
Actually, no, I'm going to go Tuesdays and Thursdays because I think Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm going to be busy with another show. So I'm kind of leaving myself open on those days.
So Tuesdays and Thursdays then.
Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. I'll roll on after you guys are done. So if you guys go 15 minutes over, I'll be waiting until you're done to jump on. And I just figure that's the best way to roll. That kind of be a sweet spot in the morning that nobody's really, So.
Oh, yeah. And it's hard to stay after class after a 3-hour show.
I know. I appreciate you guys staying after, and I'm not going to keep you long today. Oz, you want to put up the Mercy Me Studios and my beg for cash. I don't drink coffee, so if you'd like to buy me a joint, this is my joint fund. I quit. I had to quit teens. Yes. Well, I did so many stimulants as a young adult that I fried my nervous system. And even the smallest thing will amp me and wire me to the core. And so, yeah, I had to give up coffee 100%, man. It sucks because I love it. I drink decaf, just pretend that I'm drinking coffee, but.
What about teas? Like, is there any cool teas that you're hitting?
I can do a black tea if I don't do too much. I do a lot of herbal teas. Yeah, everything wires me. Everything. I'm not even kidding. I can drink a Coke. I can drink a half a Coke and I'm freaking bouncing off the walls like I did a line. Yeah. It sucks. But, some of us are that way. You get anxiety riddled when you rewrite those narrow pathways in your fucking brain as badly as I did for so many years of different drug abuse. So now I'm learning to deal with the damage I've done to my body. And it is what it is.
Aren't we all?
Right. I think we all do. So, so this is my Buy Me a Joint. Thank you so much for helping me out. As Steve likes to say, this is a value for value type of show. You want to help me out? We appreciate it. The show doesn't happen without you, the viewers. And I really appreciate everybody's input. Everybody's been so amazing since I rolled this show out. Thank you so much. And thank you to the AM Wake Up guys for stopping by. So I brought a few things for us to chat about. I want to chat about Cheney, of course, right off the bat.
Liz or Dick?
Aren't they the same? I was told that it's just Dick and drag. I love this. What was this? It's not The Onion, but producers confirm Liz Cheney will not be back for season 2 of the January 6th hearings.
Oh,
bummer. It's had too many commercials anyways.
Oh, God. There's not going to be another star witness that heard from one person who heard from another person who heard from another person.
It's okay because the special guest for season 2 of the J6 hearing is Alex Jones's phone.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They between his phone and Roger Stone's phone and everybody's phones communications that they have every conversation that happened in the last 10 years, I'm convinced.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Have you seen a lot of the different clips that have been coming up now on Liz Cheney? They're like, oh, well, that one didn't age well. I shared it today. I can't remember what she was saying because there's so many different. The one that she's just saying it's not torture. It's not waterboarding.
Oh, yeah.
It's not torture. It's not torture, Steve. It's just waterboarding. It's not torture.
I love the one where she's defending Trump like, we got to get the Republican Party together. And,
Yeah. Before the Lincoln Project came and said, hey, man, you can be the next anti-Trump within the Republican Party and you can shine for that one.
The Lincoln Project's not even, they're fully a DNC subsidiary.
Oh, yeah.
But they have some classical old school Republicans in there, like
point,
Michael Steele.
They're the Republicans that are now no longer Republicans.
Yeah.
Bill Kristol openly identifies as a Democrat now.
So that's my question. What's going to happen with this? I mean, there's a lot of speculation she's going to run for, she's going to take a POTUS run. I think we all see her building up to that. But what is ultimately their goal? Are they trying to divide the Republican Party, much like we saw, in the days of Ross Perot?
It's make America one party for real.
Yeah.
Is what the 2024 election is going to be. You're going to have Liz Cheney, who may run in the primary as a Republican, and that'll be the big turn for the Democrats when whatever they replace Dementia Joe with in 2024 says, and in this time of uncertainty, we need unity more than ever, and that's why I'm reaching across the aisle to Liz Cheney to be my vice president. At the exact same time or the week before, at the Republican National Convention, Ron DeSantis is going to go, America's never been more divided, and that's why we need unity more than ever before. That's why I'm nominating Tulsi Gabbard to be my vice president, or the blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be make America one party for real.
Yeah.
That's what
if somebody's
like.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Shanda.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if somebody's writing a script and they're acting this out, it seems like the Democratic establishment has been so full of shit that they have to try to even peel any type of support. So it seems like these Republicans, they're trying to figure out who inside the Republican Party really is not, a Trumper, not a patriot. Let's move them over here, to be part of that one big party, it seems. I mean, it's the clip that I saw today was her, an old one, like, oh, you're going to run for re-election? Oh, yes, I am. You think you're going to win? Oh, yeah, I do. But the Trump machine now, the Trump political machine, it was like one of the first times I've ever heard them saying like it was a political machine, is really strong, and they're going to come after you. And sure enough, it's supposedly they got her. So it seems to be more divisive of lining up who's the Trumper and who's not, and if anybody has any dissenting voice, they automatically throw us into that alt-right, right-wing populist party anyways. So.
Yeah, so it's going to be the insiders and the outsiders, right?
Pretty much is what they're trying to do.
You either believe and support our system, or you're just an outsider, and that's how they'll cast out, millions of people's voices. So speaking of that, you want to go to the next slide, Oz? I saw this on Twitter this morning. Apparently, Elon Musk showed up yesterday night at Kevin McCarthy's party in Wyoming to celebrate Liz Cheney's loss. Well, speaking at the MAGA party, Musk asked everyone to deny that he was there. He made sure that no press was allowed anywhere near the property, and then people at the party started posting selfies. So that didn't work too well for him. We see this with Musk, right? He's got these just cronies that just love him, adore everything he does, thinks he can do no wrong. He's going to single-handedly save First Amendment. What do you think about him showing up at this party?
Did Andrew Yang show up at this party?
I've got some Yang stuff too.
Well, Steve, I'm sorry. I'll let Steve go because
it's Elon Musk is the poster boy for transhumanism. He's a product of the Department of Defense. He's here to sell you the idea that technology wielded in the hands of the right billionaires is vastly superior than technology wielded by the hands of the state, while not finishing the sentence that the billionaires are going to be the de facto state, and that your life with your Neuralink in the metaverse, when you're in your float tank that's also feeding you nutrients so that you can stay alive, so they continue to produce in the metaverse, is some sort of future worth living. That's what he's here for.
Right. While saying out of the other side of his mouth that AI is could take us over, could, destroy civilization.
That's
he's very concerned about it.
Him alone wield AI because he knows how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I see this next clip coming up. It says take a position. Is that code for Andrew Yang on his?
Yeah, I had to bring this because I want your guys' take on the Forward Party. Of course, this is just like a minute and a half of Jim.
It's not a party. It's a caucus, right? Technically.
It's technically
and anybody, if Andrew Yang's at the head of this party, and anybody who's sitting there who's praising Liz Cheney should not be running a party. That party's already in existence. It's called the Republican Establishment, and it's failing miserably.
It absolutely is. Hey, Alwalski, thank you so much for the super chat over on the YouTubes. Yeah, let's listen to this. This is, of course, the Acosta clip where fucking Acosta, of all people, just lays Yang out for his lack of policies.
This guy, Andrew Yang, they should call him Andrew Yank because he's yanking a lot of people. So he's starting this Forward Party. And all this Forward Party is to give people who want to vote Trump a place to go that could also vote for billionaires. Because that's all this is. He's funded. He's in bed with this. The thing that's wrong with our political parties is that they're owned and controlled by the billionaire oligarch class, and he has no idea, no intention of changing that. In fact, his whole party is going to be funded by the same people. So that's why it's such a joke, and it's such a joke. And believe me, I would love to see a successful third party. This ain't it. And it's such a joke. It's such a pretend head fake that a tool like Jim Acosta can make him look like an idiot. Watch this.
But you're going to have to come up with policy
really
positions.
Negative results.
Right,
we
but
just
Andrew,
need a better system.
Yeah, but Andrew, you're going to have policy positions at some point.
At some point, you're going to have a policy position because that's what we've been saying. There are parties built based on nothing. There we go.
How does the Forward Party feel about Roe versus Wade? Should it have been overturned?
Well, I personally think that women's reproductive rights are fundamental human rights. But the Forward Party has not left or right, but forward stance on even the most divisive and contentious issues.
Well, what does that mean? Don't you have to take a position on something? Don't you have to take a position on something? You can't just say, well, this is a hot button issue, so I'm not going to take a position on you. You know, if you want to run the country, you're going to have to make some hard decisions, Andrew.
Again, the Forward Party is about that common sense consensus majority view, which is very clear on abortion. It's clear.
What about guns? What about assault weapons?
Climate change. It's actually clear on just about every issue under the sun.
Should 18-year-olds be?
So he didn't say, but he won't say But he won't say what the stance is. Oh, it's clear. The consensus opinion is clear. What is it? Say what the position. He won't say it. This is remarkable. That he won't say it. He'll keep saying the consensus opinion is clear. Well, what is that opinion?
That's not an alternative.
I can't believe how sharp I thought Jim Acosta was like Brick from Anchorman, the Steve Carell guy. He actually sounds. That's amazing.
Well, that's how bad Andrew Yang is. Yeah. He's making a guy like Jim Acosta look like a new.
Like a newsman. Yeah. So a couple of questions, guys. Will there be a third party that could ever actually rise in this political environment that we're in? And why are so many of our friends falling for this shit? Because I see some of them.
You won't get a third party until you get a second one. That's something that people just gotta fucking figure out.
I agree.
And so anytime you hear someone bring forth an idea about a third party, even my friends in the libertarian movement or the people in the green spaces who I still love, like Ian Schlackman, stuff like that, who
he's in that
actively work. Well, you know what I mean, in that sphere.
Yeah.
Who are actively working for some sort of political solution or electoral solution. Andrew Yang is a bad salesman.
He's awful.
He's a bad salesman because he knows that he's got a crap product. The reason that he goes, our policy is clear, our position is clear. It's because either the Democrat or the Republican Party has had it as a part of their platform for the last 100 years. That's why it's a clear position, because it's been directly lifted from one or the other to show to somebody on the off chance that anyone wanders by and goes, wait, what? Really? You're kidding me. I got to take a look at this.
Did you see his just befuddled face when he was asked that question.
Yeah.
We even have a video like that of Andrew Young when Fee was asking him.
That's right.
He gets caught in that face all the time like that. Oh shit, I'm gonna lie now, but I'm gonna try to do my best to make myself look like I'm really being honest and I look like I know what I'm talking about.
All he's ever had to do is smile and say corporate phrases and gotten everything that's not effective when you have to communicate genuine ideas to people, even like Jim Acosta, who may have a follow-up or just random basic first grade question that accidentally falls out of his mouth. You know,
and this whole idea that he's like some type of libertarian, like Robbie Suave, whatever his name is from the Hill. These guys aren't libertarian. When they were around, and when I can't speak for Robbie, but I can speak for Andrew. When he was at Freedom Fest, there was nobody really coming up to him and wanting to speak to him. They didn't really give two shits what this guy has to say. He's a politician.
He's a part of the establishment.
Even when he wasn't
machine.
a politician, he was a politician, right?
It took everything had to not just wreck that interview. It took everything I had to not be like, well, it's worth getting kicked out. I mean, and just but I didn't for the good of the show.
Where was this?
Do have freedom.
Well, know that we will thoroughly enjoy if you do that.
Getting interviewed,
you wanted to walk right up into that interview.
I wanted to just sit on his lap and be like, "Hey, Andy, let's talk some real shit, buddy."
I was gonna say, "Hey, I'm Pasta. Your name is?"
Right, and you are?
You are? Oh!
Give him the David Spade Saturday Night Live receptionist treatment.
Andrew Yang. Yang. That's awesome.
Wasn't he Obama's like head of young entrepreneurs and like Obama constantly patted him on the head and now he thinks he's anti-establishment?
Yeah.
It's insane.
What else you got for us over here?
Okay, here I got a Brian Seltzer clip.
Oh, that's Steve, isn't that your?
This will make you vomit in the morning.
CNN Plus, or right? What?
You're an extremist.
Tell us about the language being used here, the choices being.
Yeah, I think it's obviously intentional that they want to portray this as an assault on the president or the former president. And I think that the rhetoric that is actually on the right, Brian, is not necessarily coming through in mainstream coverage.
Okay, hold on. Let's unpack that for a minute. So you mean that when we're talking, the New York Times or CNN or ABC, when we are covering criticism from the right, we're doing what wrong?
But that's the problem. It's not criticism from the right. They're not criticizing the FBI. They're aiming to malign the FBI. They're assaulting the character of the FBI.
I did nothing wrong. I did everything correct, legally. Everything was right.
And I don't think that the fervor on the right really has shined through in news coverage. It just feels like we're almost ignoring or just hoping that you can ignore some of the rhetoric from these MAGA media stars.
So you're saying it's much more extreme than we're making it out to be?
It's very extreme. It's extremist rhetoric. It's incendiary rhetoric, and it has consequences. And we're seeing, earlier this week there was that attack on the FBI field office.
In Cincinnati by an obsessed Truth Social user.
Right.
Addicted to Trump's social network.
Right. Yeah. It's not criticism from the right. They're not criticizing the FBI. They're aiming to malign the FBI. They're assaulting the character of the FBI.
Where'd that little ducky come from?
I don't know. But so, okay, for one, you're an extremist if you're even questioning anything the FBI's been doing. And then he basically maligns and attacks the entire right with his summary by saying what he's saying.
Well, Joe Biden told all of us that we were domestic violent extremists for having untoward opinions about the government, the election, any sort of legislation. In fact, the Biden administration came out and told us that about 85-90% of the country out the gate, just by waking up in this country every morning, you're default a domestic violent extremist. If you have a political opinion that isn't whatever the current thing is, I support. So Brian Stelter, CNN, little late to the game on this. However, delivered in that classic style where the network that gave you nonstop Russiagate, that gave you Charlottesville on a loop for like 3 years, that gave you
the COVID clock countdown.
The death count, all that.
Yeah.
All of that network has been just really they've been toning it down too much on letting you know that mere criticism of the FBI is in fact far more extremist thing than anyone could have ever wrapped their tiny little peasant brain around without the beneficence of CNN.
Yeah. I think every single time they pull this shit off, they are trying to determine exactly who is on their side. You know what I'm saying? Like which one of the sheep are going to go with their flock? And you know, this is one thing after the other. Now it's criticism of the FBI. I did a very stupid thing yesterday. I wasted 20 minutes of my life that I'll never get back watching the whole Brianna Joy Gray Cenk Uygur fucking interview. Yes. But the thing that was it just baffled me was the fact that this is what everybody's doing, including like the hacks at TYT. They're now saying that how can you say that what the FBI was doing when they're going after a criminal like Donald Trump is wrong? Like, and any talk about that is a form of like extremism or whatnot, that you're crazy, you're nuts to believe that shit. And they're all lining up to make sure that the same rhetoric is coming out there with that. Now it's protection for the FBI fucking eye. And I don't even know how they can get by this, because the FBI is probably one of the most group of worst human beings on the planet. Maybe you can say the CIA, but what have they historically done? They're there to make sure that nobody uprises against the government. They've killed off any type of group that has threatened their hegemonic fucking ways. So I mean, it's just it's crazy that we're at this point that now they're defending the FBI, and they can plainly come out and do this, but they're going to use these tactics constantly on MSNBC, CNN, and even the little groups like TYT.
Yeah. You know, and TYT has to ask themselves if they're covering the same shit that MSN and CNN is fucking covering. Where are you at? And the viewers there need to ask themselves that too. Yeah, I
want to get that email, Shanda. If we can snake that email that goes to all of them, that we can, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's why I read the newspaper, because they're telegraphing and telling you what bit of propaganda they're going to give you next.
You know,
you're right.
As this is happening, Yashar Ali and a couple of people in that spirit, Yashar Ali just put out a piece, Brian Stelter to exit CNN.
No.
I saw that. I did see that. Where's he going?
Gone?
Come on.
As of 10:24 this morning.
He's probably getting a promotion, a new show. They don't go down. Look at Meadow, right?
They'll put him on MSNBC.
Yeah.
They'll give him a Megyn Kelly type
going to Sam Cedar
or some shit like that.
He's going to Sam Cedar.
Maybe he'll have a new show on Breaking Point.
Oh, I could see that. I could absolutely see that. Maybe he'll replace Kim.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is he's gotten sent down to the minors. That's what this is right now. They're sending him down to the minors.
I don't know about that. But I don't know. He'll be giving motivational seminars, and he'll be doing convention appearances here like super soon. Again,
what is he going to motivate you to do?
Totally.
How to remain calm in the midst of your own massive testosterone. That's what
that guy has testosterone.
Yeah, that's why he's so bald.
Oh,
yeah. Have you ever seen the him in drag? There's a photo out there of him in drag, and they call him Madam Divine.
No, and I hope.
Yes, if I find it, I will send it to you. It's hilarious. I can never get it out of my mind, and I just call him Madam Divine now.
I
can hold on to that one. I will
make you look at naked Gavin McInnes.
We got time for one more.
If you show me Stelter, I will make you look at naked Gavin McInnes.
I'm thinking string beans over here. Before we get out of here, we got to go into this, Steve, because what she's got up there, we get to see outside our window every single day, right, Shanda?
Yeah. So this is Joey. He has Vegas D-Tech. That's his channel. And he is an everyday citizen journalist who works at Toyota as a service guy and then bartends in the evenings. But he's out there on the ground every chance he gets doing water reports from all over Vegas. He's actually going to the city council meeting. He's shaking down the business leaders and Boy, I tell you what, it's really scary what's happening in the Southwest. And if you've been following me for a while, I've been bringing reports from all over. And of course, Lake Mead, one of the lakes that's losing, there's no water, right? I mean, so this is like a 2.5 minute clip around that. And then, yeah, I would really love for you guys to meet up with him. He's doing great work.
He's here? Okay.
Let's just get back into this report. So, this group of people called the Utah Rivers Council has basically come up with this a strange report that I've never heard of before. And their River Council member, what is his name? Zachary Frankel? That's it. He basically made a claim that they have antiquated or actually bad pipes in their dam that possibly could be the reason why we're not getting any water. And I find that really, I find this report really hard to believe. But guys, I'm gonna go ahead and give you this little clip. You guys look at it and tell me what you guys think, and we'll get right back.
Environmental advocates sounding the alarm on the water supply crisis from the Colorado River, which impacts Lake Mead and southern Nevada residents.
The Bureau of Reclamation unveiled the call to Congress for the 7 basin states to come up with a plan within just 60 days to cut between 2 and 4 million acre feet of water from the Colorado River Basin.
Zachary Frankel is the executive director for the Utah Rivers Council. He says the water problem stems from old plumbing at the Glen Canyon Dam near Lake Powell.
Even though someone in Las Vegas might not know anything or care much about what's happening at Glen Canyon Dams, the problem is that the antique plumbing inside Glen Canyon Dam has the potential to prevent Las Vegas and Nevada from getting its full water supply out of the Colorado River Basin.
Now, a coalition of several agencies is recommending 2 possible solutions, either widening or drill additional tubes to increase the water flow or construct new bypass tunnels to rise the river level.
Once the water level starts dropping another 45 feet, we're going to have major water supply delivery problems to 30 million people.
It's unclear how much the repair cost would be, but Frankel and the coalition want Congress to fund a study soon before it's too late.
This really should have happened 5 years ago.
So what do you guys think about that little report there? I mean, guys, you know what? I mean, really? Glen Canyon Dam is claiming that they have problems with their pipes? I mean, look, I already knew that they were not going to be happy. All of these water management districts were not going to be happy when they were told by the federal government that they have to conserve 2 to 4 million acre feet of water. And guys, the only way that's going to happen, the only way, take a look at how many houses are out there. As far as you can see, look at Vegas is just stretching. That's downtown there and just stretching. Everything that you see here, man, is just all homes.
So I got to ask, are you guys feeling this, or are you seeing it? Are you witnessing it? Are the people of Vegas concerned? Are people up in arms about this? I mean, we are. We're not even.
There's people that are freaked out, but I mean, it's such you've got the military, the federal government,
yeah,
then the state of Nevada, then whatever county the lake is on, be it Powell or Meade or Hoover or whatever, and then whatever local city municipality is going to be dealing with it before citizen one ever has the opportunity to be like, hey, but
yeah. There's no like shortages right now in Vegas itself, right? Like,
right. But
the Fed has put a water restriction on you guys, and Vegas has refused to meet that water restriction.
Yeah. There's supposed to be something that starts in January for the Colorado River overall, where Arizona is automatically losing a little over 20%. New Mexico is losing around 20%. Nevada's losing about 20%, 21%, where they're just going to be like, no. And we've seen this all up and down California, where there's a dam and they're like, oh, we need to drain it into the Pacific.
Yeah, I reported yesterday that Lake Powell, they're pumping water into Lake Powell to keep the combines turning, right? So that way they can produce power and sell it to 5 million PNG customers. So basically, they're letting water down to keep Powell producing power for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, too, is like, here in California, here in Vegas. Oh my God, so I haven't set in yet. Here in Vegas, the
I gotta bounce you guys.
We're gonna leave. Yeah, this is right now. The power of buying water from the casinos, very, very powerful. So they're gonna ship in a lot of water, and we haven't felt it yet. But thank you so much, Shanda, for having us on.
Thanks, you guys, for stopping by on my new show. And you guys do great work in the morning. Keep it up, and have a great day, guys.
We love you.
We love you.
Bye.
See you there. Wow, that was my first guest. Yay. Too bad I'm not engineering, because then I feel like I actually have done something. Yeah, so keep following me. I'll keep doing updates on the water situation in the Southwest. There's so many different aspects of it to look at, and that's the different dams. And like Steve was saying, all of the different municipalities that control the water. And we know we're going to be, am I muted? Why can't I hear? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Anyways, do I have sound, Oz? Do I have sound? Why do I feel like I don't have sound? Mic check, 1, 2. Do I have sound? Okay. I want to thank Stephen and Pasta for stopping by this morning. AM Wake Up. Make sure you're checking them out over on Rockfin first thing in the morning. I think they start at 7 a.m. And boy, they've had some great guests lately. So definitely worth it. I can hear. Okay. They're like, we can hear. So I got a few more things on the deck. I figure we'll just finish them out. Some of these Oz put on here. So maybe I'll drag him in voice-wise to help us out here. Amber, Miss King, had this up on her social media this morning. Franken Skies, the lies that you're being told about the skies. And, I'm one of those who's been told that I was crazy for the last 20 years, because when I look up, I don't see the same thing I saw when I was a young child. And, I've done a lot of studying on this, and the fact that they've actually admitted to Congress that they're doing this, but people still don't want to believe it, is insane to me. But this is free right now. You can watch this at frankenskiesthemovies.com. It's online for free. Go check it out. Maybe you'll get some information you didn't have before. Oz, you dropped this. What is this? It's Black Bear. I love Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin's
Great
awesome.
work.
Don't see how we can possibly avoid 2C. And this was something that Kevin's been talking about Black Bear News since I've been for 3-4 years ago. I mean, look at where it's going, and the weather's so weird. Peter Dine says the extreme effects of climate change are already being felt across the globe at 1.2C warming. 2C is a point we must not even get near. 3C as a 2100 target is madness, and that's where we're at. So once we hit the wet bulb, we're done, right, Shanda?
Yeah, that is madness. We're much warmer up here in the Northwest, I've noticed, than
Yeah, and it's spiking all over the place. Like today in my location, Olympia, Washington, it's going to be 95, 96, and then it's going to drop to 76 tomorrow, and then it'll be back up next week. It's just all over the place. There's no consistent weather patterns like there were in the past while we were all growing up. I know we can all relate to it.
You predict it. Yeah,
we had spring, we had summer, we had fall, we had winter. But now it's all over the place. You got 70 degrees in November and April. Are you kidding? Or 80?
We were still freezing in June. I couldn't get half my start started this year because they froze and died.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
it's
just wanted to bring that weather report.
The times we live in right now. That was a good one. And please follow Black Bear News on Rockfin if you're not. Kevin, he is focused on environment. He does a great job. I think he looks like James Hetfield from Metallica. So
Yep.
I really do. Okay, well, I brought a little clip of the whole this is Matt Orfalea. Yeah, Matt Orfalea dropped this yesterday. This is great. This is just a little
skirmish
compilation.
Brianna Joy Gray and Cenk Ruud Ugur. So
Right.
there you go. I put it in too, but I saw you had it in there, so I had to take mine out.
Great minds think alike.
I wouldn't have Jimmy Dore on this show. Jimmy Dore, I think Jimmy is Jimmy.
I wasn't asking about Jimmy. What do you mean when you characterize me and Jimmy as having a quote-unquote alliance?
In the days where he was doing forced to vote and all that nonsense.
Cenk Uger's own audience overwhelmingly supports this idea.
And I support forced to vote, as did Cornel West and Chris Hedges and Crystal Ball and Kyle Kalinske, members of DSA, and a whole lot of people on the left. Jimmy Dore.
Look at how red his face is.
This conversation focused on us and whatever your concerns were about me.
Look, Brianna, so when Jimmy Dore did a video, Jimmy all the time, and I attacking Jimmy.
Well, Cenk, you should really talk to Jimmy. I am not a ventriloquist dummy for Jimmy Dore, and I really wish you would respect me enough to engage with me as the human being that's sitting in front of you, and not.
Jimmy says in his speech, let's go to, hold on. No, I have to give you the distinction.
This is his audience, not mine.
And they see something in Jimmy.
And almost 9 out of 10 of them see right through his bullshit.
And if Jimmy is attracting a certain kind of audience and pulling certain people to the left, who resonates with them.
Anyway, I can't bear to talk about Jimmy. I hate to say it. I love Jimmy Dore. And I always have, so make sure you go to jimmydorecomedy.com.
You know, I got to say, I've lived for this, because when we came out of 2016 and, you know, after the election and coming into 2017, Jimmy's still working at TYT, right? But his messaging and TYT and Cenk's messaging are totally conflicting. They're totally on different pages. But Jimmy is being professional. He never says a derogatory word. You know, this is when he was doing the aggressive progressive, right? And we just kept waiting. Like, how long is he going to put up with this shit? How long is he going to support the lies? Because that's how I kind of felt. Like, Jimmy, you're over there working and not calling these suckers out, then you're supporting the lies and the bullshit. You know, that was right around the time that they took all that Katzenberg money. Yeah. And then the shoe finally dropped and Jimmy left, right? And I remember asking you, how long is he going to keep his mouth shut about TYT?
That's a good point. I wanted to bring this up. I want to set the record straight again, which we've been doing a lot lately. But
always.
But TYT, Cenk Uygur in particular, is the one who first shot the big bolt at Jimmy. He started this shit.
They started
and Jimmy wasn't, and nobody can dispute this, because when Force the Vote came up, Cenk Uygur crapped all over everything and fingered Jimmy in that whole thing. Yep. So Jimmy said, "Okay, you threw down. It's over, dude." And again, we never all agree on everything, but you know, for the most part, I think so many of the claims been leveled at Jimmy Dore, Steph, and the whole crew over there at the Jimmy Dore Show have been unfounded and not even factual. And when Anna Kasparian tried to blackmail Jimmy, in my opinion, with that email,
that was absolutely
that was a low blow. That's akin to so many other things that have happened recently with people accusing other people of being racist and bigots and everything else. And so the bad stuff really comes out of these entities that are either afraid or smearing Jimmy when these entities themselves at one time said, Jimmy speaks the truth. Oh, Jimmy Dore, he says things I can't say, or, you know, and then I support Jimmy Dore, funniest guy on the planet. So the hypocrisy here is up to my neck with everything I'm hearing. So that's my soapbox for the morning. Sorry, Shanda.
No, go for it. I'm glad you could come on and rant. You're absolutely right, and I'm so glad to see it finally happening. Jimmy finally getting out there and saying, "Hey, I was calling them out in those years that I was there for their lies and their bullshit." Remember, they pushed Russiagate really fucking hard. They pushed so many things that, you know, Nina Turner and her whole "now is not the time." You know, I used to be an avid Nina Turner supporter. I mean, when you go watch Nina give a sermon, as I call them, it fires you up, right? Or it did when I first got involved. But now I just look at it for the propaganda bullshit that it is. She just regurgitates the I'm kind of a progressive, but I'm in the Democratic Party talking points that all of the establishment already fucking says. So why do we need more establishment doing it? The hypocrisy. I'm glad Jimmy's getting a chance to call them out. No, I don't agree with Jimmy on everything. I obviously did not agree with him on the boop boop, right? But he came around. He did the research and finally woke up to it. Too bad he had to get sick and harmed to do that. But, I'm glad he's with us now. But yeah, truth. Did you see this? Jilly sent me this. So this popped up on eBay as Melania Trump's panties used.
Ooh. Ooh.
The FBI is selling it. 100% positive feedback, mind you.
This is not after dark, Shanda.
I know, but it's still funny. Thank you, Jilly.
What's the whistle for?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what that's for. But
okay, never mind. I didn't say that. Next.
Y'all know. Next. So, will the judge that signed the Mar-a-Lago warrant, will they unseal it? I guess that we're going to find out today.
Good morning, 6:54. Here are some of the top stories we're following right now. Today, the Florida judge who approved the FBI search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate will hold a hearing. He'll decide whether to unseal the affidavit used to justify that search. Trump is calling for the release in the interest of transparency.
Yeah, release it. Be transparent. I want to see it. What about you? You want to see it? I think you guys all want to see it. Okay. Epstein. So Tucker, I think this was not last night, maybe the night before, had a guest on. And when it comes to Epstein, we're never going to get the client list. And I'm so tired of listening to people scream about, show us the client list. We know who's on that list. Let's see. Bill Gates, 36 times. Bill Clinton, 26 times. We know who's on that list. But this is Tucker and Fox.
So there's been a lot of leaking from the DOJ recently, but somehow the Justice Department has not leaked anything really about Jeffrey Epstein, including his client list. Why is that? Well, Elon Musk, a big picture man if there ever was one, asked that question recently. Quote, "The only thing more remarkable than DOJ not leaking the list is that no one in the media cares," he wrote. Well, that's true. And while we're on the topic of Epstein, why did Bruce Reinhart, the magistrate judge who approved the Mar-a-Lago raid, represent several of Jeffrey Epstein's employees, including his pilot and his schedule? Weird. Bobby Capucci is a podcast host who is doggedly following this story. He joins us tonight. Bobby, thanks so much for coming on. So you follow this full-time, one of the few who does. Why haven't we gotten any of this information in the form of leaks to the New York Times, do you think?
Well, in my opinion, it has to do with how far it goes. This is such a gigantic in scope operation that he was running that if they really dug deep, that it would be almost earth-shattering what they would discover. If you take a look at some of the similar cases in New York at a similar time for similar crimes, R. Kelly or Keith Raniere, both were hit with RICO charges, but Epstein, Maxwell, no RICO there? I wonder why.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
Weird. I mean, they grabbed some of Alex Jones's texts the other day, and the line is that Alex Jones is the real criminal, not Jeffrey Epstein, right? But the second they got his texts, you know everything embarrassing thing he's ever said, of course, is going to be in the New York Times. But they are affirmatively protecting Jeffrey Epstein, who's not even alive anymore. It's just one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
It's been going on all the way since the Vanity Fair article back in 2002, the puff piece on Jeffrey Epstein back then. You know, Maria Farmer outed this guy in 1995, 1996. Nobody followed up on it. Nobody ever pursued him the way they should have. And it was all happening right under the nose of the SDNY, who loves to get on their ivory tower and preach down to the rest of us on a regular basis about how bad we live our lives. Meanwhile, this guy was running around in their district for 4 presidencies, hanging out at the White House, they're all of it, and nobody cares what's going on until the survivors themselves decide to go and take the case to the people. And we see what's happened since then. There's been an avalanche effect, and they've had to react to it.
Okay, so there's a couple of good points in there. Yeah, why wasn't there any RICO act brought, especially against Ghislaine? They just tried her in her fake pretend trial that they did. But my question, and everybody's screaming about the client list. why are we not talking about the transhumanist aspect of what Jeffrey Epstein was up to? Because the research, the proof is out there. I've done some really good deep dives into Epstein over the last 2 years. You can find all those on our Rockfin. Yeah, these ranches, he had the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, and he specifically had it for wanting to bring women there, impregnate them, and then take their babies. Now, what they were doing with those babies hasn't been really clear. Was it for more honey trap type of thing, or was it for, say, organ harvesting? There's a lot of speculation of what they were doing. But all of these, Elon Musk is another one who's single-handedly wanting to repopulate the fucking world too. Remember, he's had 6 kids, 7 kids now with different women, and they're trying to purify the human race with their smart genes. And nobody's talking about this aspect of it. We all want to know about the client list, or, there's such a bigger conversation here, and I wish that Tucker would talk about that instead. What'd you bring? You brought a Savvy clip. I see a Savvy says.
Yeah, this is a topic near and dear to my heart because of the age of condescension between groups that are talking to each other, and my button is ageism, both directions, young and old. And I posted this morning that those of the younger crowd who get tired of listening to us old boomers talk about our stories and the gained wisdom that we've had over the years, it sounds like we're being condescending to them, and some of it really is. But at the same time, the youth is so condescending to the older people. It's hypocrisy incarnate. But anyway, let's run this clip, and Sabby brilliantly makes a specific point here that I think people need to hear about academics, something that I've run into so many times in my life because I've been involved in the academic plane of insanity, and I call it insanity because it was frustrating more than anything else. But here we go.
I don't have that problem in the trailer park.
Well, I used to, I don't either anymore, but I used to in some of the places where I
people have different tactics. I understand that Jimmy's tone is not necessarily what I choose. It's not what you choose, and it's not what you like. But I also respect that he channels a lot of the deep anger and resentment that so many people who are failing and being crushed by poverty, by medical debt, by cancer, by all kinds of ailments. Those people are looking at people like you and I, who are sitting here calmly at our desks talking about these things, in a way that can feel academic to people who are really suffering, and they see something in Jimmy. And if Jimmy is attracting a certain kind of audience and pulling certain people to the left who resonates with them.
Let me chime in here for just a second, because she touched on something that, again, we've been talking about for a long time. I've said this before. It can be a turn off when you have people, these academics, a lot of these highly professionals, the lawyers, they don't fight back the way that they could or should. And she's right. There are people looking at people like her and Cenk Uygur and saying look, you guys are better off than a lot of us. Why are you willing to fight? Why can't you understand the type of pain and frustration that we have? And I say this as someone, look, I've been on both sides, okay? I was an academic advisor. I grew up in a middle-class family. And then when the housing crisis happened, I became poor pretty quickly. So I know what it's like to be on both sides. And I'll say this, it is something that I've often had to remind faculty that I've worked with. Sometimes when you're talking to people, sometimes it's good to just take a step back and take off your professor hat, your academic hat, and just listen to what they are saying and what they are going through. And not only talk to people who are in the same class as you. Because I appreciate the fact that they're having this discussion, but Cenk Uygur should also be having this discussion with poor people and working class people. I know they probably have people that can go out on the ground to do that, but I think he should do that. I think he should get out there and talk to them too. I think Anna Kasparian should get out there and talk to them too. I think Every now and then, people need to leave their comfy studios. And by the way, this is not a studio. Leave their comfy studios and go out there and talk to those people. Because basically what we have happening here is podcaster talking to podcaster. And a lot of times, both of them are in comfortable positions financially. They're talking about what working class people and poor people want, but they've never been in that position. So I really want to see people. This goes out to everybody. Some of you, you're a little too comfortable. I want to see some of you get up and leave your studio and go out and talk to working class and poor people.
Ooh, is that a swipe at 2IT? I got to say, I absolutely agree with her. That is amazing that she's bringing that up. From my perspective of where I come from, and that is, I was a teenage mother, born to a teenage mother. I was never allowed to get an education. The education I have, I fought tooth and nail to get every little tiny bit of information that I have. I wasn't allowed that. And I find now that when I'm in spaces, especially with politics, even locally or nationally, that people are very condescending and like to talk down. And that makes what I've been doing so much more important, because I feel like I'm representing a voice of people that don't normally get into those spaces and get to say much about how they're living and how these policies affect them. And in the beginning, I was always embarrassed, shy. I go to these meetings and people would encourage me, go ahead and talk about your addiction. This is a Democrat meeting, not an NA meeting, but then as more people encouraged me to get out there and keep talking about these issues and how they affect everyday people, I know, my family and my friends, I got a little bit more confident. And now I'm in a place where I'm just in your face, you're going to hear how addiction is affecting our communities. You're going to hear how low wages for jobs is. You're going to hear about how not being able to afford an education is locking people into, abject poverty. And so I love that she's saying this. What do you got to say about it, Oz?
Well, I do too. And to my point, I don't want to be convoluted. She's talking about getting out in front of from your studio or your camera and talking with people, talking to people, not talking at them. And that's what we find, because academics notoriously sound condescending to someone like me, or you or I are judged on the way we articulate ourselves or our vocabulary.
You're just poor. You can't spell.
Yeah, you talk like a hillbilly or something else. But what you're doing is you're communicating from the roots that you came from. And if they don't understand that and respect what you went through, which they have to, because they don't know what you went through, so credit you with where you've been in your life and what you've had to endure, the pains you suffered or the successes you've had. For someone to come from an academic or a privileged position and start talking with you, they're not talking with you, they're talking at you, because you've been judged by how you carry yourself, by what you wear, or your standing in society. It's terrible. And that's the main point here. I do want to point out from a
but do it to a point where you're not exploiting people. I'm working on a story right now that I've never told any of you guys about. So I'm always researching these conservatorships of the elite, right? There's a lot of conservatorships that have been put into play. And there is a show, or it's a YouTube channel called Soft White Underbelly. And I think I've even brought some of their stuff. They normally just do interviews with addicts, homeless, that type of thing. But it's at a point where he is getting millions and millions of views and millions of dollars because of the fact that he's exploiting these people. He's not trying to come up with a solution for anything. And I'm working on a story I'm going to bring you. If you guys know who I'm talking about, there's some shady shit going on with that channel. So probably Tuesday I'll do a deep dive into that for you.
Looking forward to it. Just an engineer's note. First of all, I want to shout out to all the engineers and production people who are working on these shows for everybody else. This is a point I want to make. See the placement on the microphone there on Sabrina? That's perfect placement for this kind of presentation, where Brianna Joy Grays is cutting off her lower chin and things like that, so it encumbers.
We all have issues.
It encumbers the issue. So just a point to anybody that's doing podcasts: kick your mic off to the side when you can, or below your face, because we want to see your face. We want to see your expression. So that's my engineer side.
Is that better? I know.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm
too.
not critiquing yours. It's that Sabby's is perfect.
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
Perfect.
Savvy is
And
just, yeah.
She
does such
she wants to
killer
give
job.
you all of her, including her facial
Karen!
expressions and opinions. Anyway, what do
Welcome,
we got
Karen.
next?
What do we got? I know you put this on here, and you know I can't see and I can't read. So, or did I put this? Okay, digital identity here. Let me get to it where I can actually see it. I'll put it on the big screen because I'm so blind. I am so blind, and I'm learning to accept that I'm blind and to own it because there's nothing I can do. Even with my glasses on, I can't see. So this is digital identity. Yes. So it's got healthcare, financial services, food and stability, travel and mobility, humanitarian response, e-commerce, social platforms, e-government, telecommunications, and telecommunications. So yeah, this is their circle of what they have to control. And once they get all of these controlled, they have 100% control over us, right?
Absolutely.
That's what's coming.
They've been working on this for decades.
Yeah, no, they have been working on this for decades. And we knew that. We knew that back when Bush was giving his, 10 billion point of light speeches and talking about the New World Order. But we were crazy conspiracy theorists because we ever brought it up, right?
Yep, that's absolutely the truth.
And we still are now that we're talking Agenda 30 or 2030. You guys are just crazy conspiracy theorists.
Yes,
they're saying it. They're admitting it. We're bringing you the clips. We're bringing their actual voices telling you what they're going to do. And you still don't believe that. Why? Because to go back to the academia, now that I'm older, I'm glad I didn't go get $50,000 in debt to get an institutionalized education, right? Now I'm thankful that the education I got was fought for by myself and not programmed. I didn't get programming. And I talk to so many people, especially now that, I have older kids, my kids are getting older, and I see them as programmed. I'm just like, you know better. Why are you listening to this crap, You pay to get programmed. That's
you really
our
do.
Education system.
Really, really do.
You brought us a combo clip. This was a great episode.
Yeah, this should disturb anybody. I think Pasta just put this up this morning, so I want to play it it's really short. But Scott Ritter made a statement here that's kind of hard to swallow, but it's true, in my opinion. Give it a listen.
Imagine if an American politician treated our military with the same respect. Somebody who said, we will do everything possible to avoid a war before going to war. Maybe we'd have more kids around because their fathers came home from a war and they married the girl next door and had babies, or a girl came home and married the boy next door. All these lives that we've terminated. We'd have other kids in Iraq, in Syria, elsewhere. Millions of them, because they wouldn't be dead because of our policies, because we had a politician with the courage to say, I choose peace over war. Well, China chose peace. That's a sign of strength. That doesn't mean they're bending over. Look, the Senate delegation landed in Taiwan. The first thing the Chinese did was start their war games again. The war games that China did after Pelosi's maneuver proved that China can take Taiwan anytime it wants to. And so they're just making that point again. If the United States continues its stupidity, then, at some point in time, there are some very immature political elements in Taiwan who will think they can get away with it and they will declare independence. And then there'll be a war. And this is where it gets scary, ladies and gentlemen, because over the past 15 years, the United States has run a couple dozen war games about U.S. fighting China over Taiwan. We've lost every single one of them. We can't win a war game because there's the recognition that we can't win a war against China.
Yep. That was a very important part that he pointed out the other day. Like, if you're actually paying attention to geography, what leg do we have to stand on? If they want to take Guam out, as we send some of that shit in there. My mom lived on Guam from the time of 68 to 70. So I know a lot about Guam just because she's been obsessed with it my whole life. And yeah, I mean, that's our stronghold over there. I look at the Ukraine too. There's only a few ways out of the Ukraine, and we know it. It's going to be Russia getting more, they're going to.
It's the last.
We're sitting. Yeah,
it's the last gasps of American imperialism.
It is.
Enjoy the memories, folks, because the whole dynamic is going to be changing for all of us. I think virtually everybody in this chat realizes that. But I'm glad that Pasta focused on the quote, all these lives that we've terminated, we wouldn't have been lost if our politicians chose peace over war. And that's the big thing. These warmongers.
We don't even talk peace.
We won't even talk
peace.
Won't even talk peace. And that's the sickening part about it. So Fiorello.
Well, and what's the final solution, right? What's the final answer to not talking peace? That's all out nuclear annihilation.
Well,
and they know that that's eventually going to happen, right? They've got plans for that. And honestly, we know they don't care when they've got their dumb bunkers, right? Yeah. Deep underground military bunkers. That's what dumb stands for. And those that they see as the elite or worthy of staying, well, they'll just go in their dumb bunkers, and the rest of us, poof.
And people would come at you, Shanda, for saying, "Oh, how can you tell them they're dumb or dumb bunkers?" Well, I got news for you, everybody. Chris Hedges calls these elites that have these bunkers dumb. They are dumb because, the moss rolls downhill, the mushroom cloud will fall out too. So everybody's going to get it no matter what. So I don't know what the end game is, unless they already know it's the end and they want to live it up while they're living. That's all.
I'm afraid that's where we're at. I see you brought a fee.
Fee, yes, fee.
He says.
The government is literally arming the IRS. We use deadly force against their main targets, the working class, and the predatory 1% will continue to use loopholes to pay next to nothing. That's the reality talking point, you tribal infant. And that's exactly the truth. It's the truth. I mean, why would they start the cap, $600? Why would they put it there and not 400,000? But now they're saying, nobody under 400,000 will get. Bullshit.
They're not going to look at anybody over that 400,000 mark because they have to bring in
too much
forensic accountants to actually comb through it. And here's the thing: if you've been watching that videos out there of these IRS trainees, right, where they're teaching them how to take a scumbag down and slap handcuffs on him. Pasta and Steve covered this morning. They did a really good job of breaking it down, how they're just going up there and they're rounding up these people whose only ideology of being a cop is what they learned on TV, what they saw on TV, right? So now we're going to have all these overzealous, and yeah, we know who they're coming after. They're coming after the everyday workers. If you got if you bought a car, where did you get that money for that car? This has always been a scam that they've played, where if you can't account for how that you acquired that certain thing, right? Be it a house, a boat, a car, then they can just seize it. They don't even have to file charges on you. They literally can just say, "We think you obtained this illegally," and take it from you. So how much of that, how much assets are going to be seized by these new IRS agents is kind of my question.
Well, they learned that from the TSA, seizing stuff that people try and take on the plane, and then they end up putting it on eBay. So I'm sure that's a commodity that it's a commodities market that they're generating, I believe. So
did I ever tell you this? So my real father was a chemist, and he also was the original Breaking Bad and was making meth in his garage. This is when I was an adult. I didn't live there. I didn't know anything about it really, and he got busted. And when they came in and raided both of his properties, because he had 2 houses and a super nice boat and super nice vehicles and stuff, and he got arrested and charged, and he went to prison. He went to Florence. He was across the hall from Ted Kaczynski. And that was because he rigged his lab to blow if the cops invaded him. So right there, he was building an incendiary device. And because the Olympics were being held in Salt Lake City at the time, they managed to charge him federally. Yeah. So that's why he ended up in Florence, Colorado in Supermax. But they didn't manage to take anything from him. And why is that? Because my dad outsmarted him. He knew to have, a paper trail from he had a legitimate business and he actually worked. And yeah, I've never seen anybody come out of prison, and he came out of prison and still owned all of his houses, his boats, his cars. And I always think of that. Like my dad taught me, don't let them take your stuff. Right?
Your stuff.
Yeah. So this is the last one for the night. For the day. I brought this because I wanted to talk addiction with Pasta, because we're going to be bringing To Hell and Back. I mean, it's just been on hiatus because we've been so busy. But I came across this really good deep dive into fentanyl and the effects it's having on St. Louis. It's an hour-long clip, so I'm going to drop it in the chat for you guys to watch later, and then we'll just watch like the first minute and a half of it.
This drug is a monster.
They're trying to find Narcan as possibly an overdose.
These people didn't even realize they were selling the most dangerous drug in the world.
One of the major causes of the opioid crisis in the first place is overprescribing by doctors.
We were ignorant, and we've suffered in that. Matter of fact, we paid great price for that.
They dead, locked up, or they out here hopeless.
Poisoned by the deadly drug fentanyl, killing 7 in the Central West End.
The illicit fentanyl that's killing people comes from China.
That's enough fentanyl to give every member of the United States population a potentially lethal dose.
A formidable enemy. Scoring the drugs on social media.
And life just instantly began to spiral out of control.
It could kill you immediately.
I've never seen a drug threat as prevalent and as dangerous as we're seeing right now with them.
Now, on every corner, everybody's selling fentanyl. Everybody.
It happened to my family, and I never thought it would.
We're saying this is a real life and death situation.
Had we really wanted to go out and save lives, we could have done so.
You lost a child, you know. Nobody should have to do that.
Every year it gets not just worse, but exponentially worse. And St. Louis has been hit particularly hard.
Fentanyl is the defining drug of the overdose epidemic in St. Louis. It has no taste or smell. Even a handful of it could kill thousands of people. It reaches into every corner of society, suburbs and cities, rich and poor, black and white. Many who become addicted have no idea they're even taking it. And it's caused drug addiction in the region to spiral out of control. More than 70% of overdose deaths in the St. Louis area now involve fentanyl.
I might see a person 5 minutes, and in 5 minutes they dead because they took something that they had no idea what they was taking.
Yes. You know, the only thing I disagree with on that whole clip was how they're blaming China. Yes, initially fentanyl was coming from China. The main ingredient was being, dropped in the Gulf of Mexico, and the cartels were getting it. But now, since COVID, and they couldn't get shipments of the main ingredient out, a lot of those Chinese pharmaceutical bigwigs have sold the recipe of fentanyl, how to make it in its base, to the cartels. So now the cartels don't even have to go get that from China anymore. But this will continue a talking point because the DEA needs, bad guys to go after so that way they get more funding, right? And I'm not saying that we don't need to be doing stuff, but is busting people for this, is that what's going to help them? Absolutely not. I mean, as our civilization continues to collapse and decline, people are looking for escapism. And let me tell you, there is no better escapism than fucking fentanyl in the world, because anything you cared about, anything you were worried about, it's gone. And it is affecting people. I love that woman says, I didn't think it would affect my family. It's affecting every aspect of my family. And in my family, addiction is a family thing. They have those who pray together stay together. Well, those who get high together stay together. And growing up and as a teenager to teenage parents, I learned to party right alongside my parents, and sadly, I've lost both of my parents to addiction, and so that's why this is so close to me. I'm gonna keep screaming about it. It's just getting worse. I bring you guys the clips of the homeless, like Kensington Avenue, and they're all doing the Walking Dead shuffle. They're all bent over. Yeah. We need better solutions than just busting people and throwing them into rehabs that are for profit and putting them on big pharma's medication. So that's another profit. That all addiction starts rooted in trauma. We have to learn how to deal with people's trauma. But in this society that we live in, nobody wants to talk about trauma. Nobody cares about your trauma as long as it doesn't spill over onto them. And that's where we're going wrong. Mental health and loving people, just caring people, giving them a human contact, you know. Just because that person doesn't look like they've showered in a week, or, you know, why be cruel? Why not help them? I'm going to keep screaming about this, and I can't wait for Helen Back to come back, because I want to do some deep dives, and I want to, dispel some of these myths like, oh, China's waging a drug war on us. Well, they might be, but you know what? We waged a drug war on them first. It's all fair, right? So yeah, to Helen Back, it's going to be Thursdays. I'm hoping it'll be in the afternoon. I got to post it on for a time. But if you go back and watch the older to Helen Backs, we did some really good deep dives into a lot of good topics. So not just fentanyl, but there's others too. Trailer Park Pundit. Oh yeah. So help us get to DC. We're going to DC for the hands off Julian Assange, and you can write Julian Assange. Please write Julian Assange. It doesn't take long. Just a quick little postcard or a note. I mean, it's got to brighten his day to get any message from the outside world. And we can do that for him. We also can get out there and start tabling and doing events. If you've got fairs, festivals, all these things coming up, you could table. You know, I do it all the time. You get some flyers together, you just get a little plastic pop-out table, and you just go sit and talk to people. So many people have the misconceived notions of what Julian is, who he is, and what he did. And it's up to us to keep, pushing back and dispelling the bullshit that the government's putting out there. So yeah, October 8th out front of the Department of Justice. So we will be out there, hands off Assange. So please join us. And if you want to help us out, I think Amber's got a link up on Roar. Yeah, on the Roar Twitter that you can donate to, or you can give to our PayPal, or Patreon helps us out. And I want to shout out Al Walski, who says, getting Shanda to DC in style. Thank you so much for your support. And thank you everybody who is in the chat. I want to shout out the chat a little bit because I didn't get a chance to interact today. Jilly, hey Jilly, what's up? Mischievous Manners, that's a great name. Kate, I agree with you on so many things. You were talking about Anthony Bourdain. Yeah, that was heartbreaking, wasn't it? And Debbie Lewinsky. Yeah, I love Debbie. I'm sad for Debbie because she's not doing, shows anymore. Aram, hey Aram. Choosy Heretics choose Carnation Revolution now. Hello. Hey Dov. Who else is in here? Marby Dog. Go Start. Hey, Go Start. Who am I missing? I know I'm probably missing somebody. I'm trying to go. Farron. I'm glad Farron showed up. Farron did a great show last night. Always Farron keeps me laughing. Always keeps me going. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us. I know we went a little long, but we kind of had a guest today.
Yeah, so you got Bad Andy over on the Fin, and you got Anthony over on the Fin. Thanks. And you got Ian Henderson on the Fin.
Hey, Ian.
Independent Left News is over there on the Fin. Brothers over there, Indy. Copeland Morris, good to see you.
Hey, Copeland.
Daniel Butler. And we just really do appreciate it. Shanda, I pulled this. This was posted a few years ago. And I put it on the Rockfin tab. See the Rockfin up there? If you don't fight for free speech of those you disagree, then you don't believe in freedom, you believe in authority. And I thought that's pretty good, because our friends at YouTube don't seem to get that yet, and we're hoping that they come into the light, Carol Ann.
I don't think they will, because they're corporate owned, but I did do a survey as a YouTube partner yesterday, and I let them have it. Let me tell you, they're like, oh, you want to do a 20-minute survey? I'm like, oh, I'll do your survey. And they even gave you boxes to type stuff to them. Oh, I let them have it. So this is Mercy Me Studios. Yesterday, we upgraded to Windows 10 from Windows 11. So now I am reinstalling all of my programs, and I will be engineering on my own again next Tuesday. So thank you so much for coming in to engineer for us today. Welcome to the Trailer Park. I am the Trailer Park Pundit. Let's see, what announcements do we have? We have Is Amber doing a show Friday?
I do not think so as of this morning.
She needs to go over the chip bill. I want her to go over the chip bill.
I think she had a friend that had an accident, so she'll be visiting in the hospital. But that may change, you know.
Okay.
And Convo Couch tomorrow. I can't remember. I believe they do have a guest. Hopefully it'll be at noon, and then Beauty and the Boomer on Saturday nights. And that's all I've got for right now that I can think of. And you are we're just gonna keep formatting your computer, and eventually you will be engineering a lot of the things that I'm doing now. So
yes, I'm gonna step in and kind of relieve some of the workload on Oz. So that's why, I'm gonna be doing shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays, of course, Beauty and the Boomer and all of our other shows, but I'm gonna be helping out around the house.
Just to remind everybody, I am 62 years old, and next week I will be 63 years old. That is a fact.
I know. Oz's birthday's coming up. Yay, I can't wait.
I celebrate on October 31st. I think it's more fun. But next week is my birthday, and I will be 63. Yeah. Oh, God, don't give that up.
Don't give that out. I want our peeps to know, because we want to be able to wish you a happy
cusper.
birthday.
I'm a cusper.
Yeah, you are.
Anyway, we're going out with your song here. This was great, and thanks to AM Wake Up and Pasta and Steve and Shanda for honoring me by letting me engineer your stream today. And
I appreciate you.
So anyway, that's it. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, well, you guys have a great week. Thanks for joining us, and I will see you when I see you.
Bye.
Desperation level. Even though my nose don't work, I smell trouble. No desperation limit. No desperation level. Murder in the government. Say you're sorry. No desperation limit. No desperation level. Turn the key, turn the lock. Nationalism, you can suck my. No desperation limit. No desperation level. Watch how the world's progressing everywhere. Aggression.